Hey everyone, it's time to do another Codex review. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Codex review. As always, my name is Jay, and in this video I'm going to go over the new Space Wolf Codex announced today, and we're going to talk about the new rules, the new relics, Warlord Traits, all the updates to the Codex. Yeah, it is a very filled Codex. So, let's start off with my first impressions of this Codex. I really like it. I really like it a lot. I think the rules really fit the theme of the army, they fit the models, and it's going to be a really powerful Codex as far as Space Marines go. I really do think so. I was a little disappointed when it came like Dark Angels because their army-wide special rule didn't really fit with their, I don't know, their feel, you know. Reroll ones to hit if you didn't move in the previous phase. For Space Marine, that doesn't mean a lot. It made things very confusing for tactics. But this Codex, so they did a lot with this Codex. GW did a lot of good stuff. First of all, they brought in all the Primaris Marines into the Codex. So there's going to be a lot of choices. I mean, a whole lot of choices in this Codex. Especially for the HQ slot. I think there's like 20 HQ choices. I could be wrong, I'll count them in a moment. There seem to be like 24 HQ choices, because variety of combinations with, you know, this person on bike, this person on bike actually got removed from most of the Codex choices. This person on wolf, this person on jetpack, this person in this armor, a lot of choices. Now, because Primaris Marines were added into the Codex as well, the troops choices got a little bit larger. Now you have, you know, Grey Hunters, you have Blood. I'm gonna lose my train of thought here. You have the Grey Hunters, of course. You have let me pull this up. I'm gonna lose my mind here. Blood Claws. That's what it hit me. Yep, your Blood Claws. And now you have access to, as well, you have the Intercessor squad. So the Grey Hunters, Intercessors, and Blood Claws, right? Now, those who don't know, you don't take, for this particular faction of Space Marines, the Scouts aren't troops, they're elite choices. Tough luck. Because of that, I don't see them being taken as much in this Codex. You can, but they're much more fun as troops, because then you can, you know, stick them on objectives. They have objectives secured, or their, you know, equivalent name in this Codex, and they're pretty cool there. Plus, now they're competing with a lot of elites. This Codex is filled with elite choices and filled with HQ choices. There are tons of them. So, because they have their new Codex as well, they also got some new handy-dandy units. As all the Primaris Marines and all that kind of stuff is now added to the Codex. There's now going to be a Wolfin Dreadknot. I haven't seen the model yet, but it sounds awesome. A Wolfin Dreadknot sounds really cool. A note, as far as points costs go, almost everything that got adjusted for points costs got decreased, other than, let's see, the base Room Priest went up in cost by 20 points, and the Stormfang went up by 20 points. Arjack Rockfist went up by 5 points, but other than that, pretty much everything else that got points adjusted went down in cost, and by no means did they make them any less awesome. In fact, most of the rules are identical as the data sheets. I will skip them over some models because of the identicalness, but in general, everything got cheaper that you wanted to get cheaper, and that's awesome. They're just as competitive, and there's a lot of really nasty stacking rules in this Codex. I mean, they're going to be nasty in close combat. It's going to be hilarious. So we're going to start off with, of course, their special rule, because that defines the theme of the army, right? It works really well. You know, my favorite army, the Imperial Fists, they ignore cover, which is pretty awesome. My Dark Angels, though, reroll hits rolls of 1 if they don't move in the previous phase. Not as good. So with this one, now if for this army, of course, they still have Initial No Fear, which allows them to reroll morale checks. Of course, most HQs can make them auto pass and not have to roll or many HQs that you take. I think in this codex, some of them are very, very strong, and there's definite standouts to me. They also receive Defenders of Humanity for the troops choices. So troops, as long as the Army's Battle Force, troops in the Space Wolves attachment gain Defenders of Humanity. That's their objective secured name. It's OBSEC. So if they have more models on objective than the opponent, and the opponent doesn't have objective secured, they take it. Right? Hunters Unleashed. This is the other one though. So because this is Space Marine Codex, Infantry, Biker, Cavalry, and remember Cavalry, Thunderwolf Cavalry, and Wolfin, right? Remember Wolfin. They are infantry. And Dreadnought units, other than the servitor units, in the Space Wolves gain what's called Hunters Unleashed. This has already been released, but Hunters Unleashed is a really cool ability that in any turn in which a unit with this ability made a charge, was charged, or made a heroic intervention, you can add 1 to hit rolls in the fight phase. So every time a new combat has been created, if you get assaulted or you assault them, +1 to hit rolls. So pretty much everything in this codex is hitting on 2s that first round. That's insane. I love it, and it really gives the theme for the codex because it's all about close combat and just thrashing your opponent in close combat. I think what that a lot of this codex is about, and it really fits in. And as I said, there's tons of ways to stack where you can also reroll 1s to hit in close combat by attaching the equivalent of a captain, basically. Now, and obviously in this codex, when we go through it, they have their own name for everything. Own name for captain, own name for lieutenant. But any captain basically allows rerolls to hit a 1. So first round of combat, the captain, anyone around him by 6 inches, is hitting on 2s, reroll 1s. And you can also maybe like bring in a lieutenant, which allows them to reroll 1s to wound as well. It'd be pretty hilarious. But there's a lot of good rules that stack on top of each other. So as I said, Hunters Unleashed is a great special rule for this codex. It's a very close combat themed army, and it works very well with them. Let's go to Warlord Traits as well. So Warlord Traits. There are 6 Warlord Traits. They're all called Saga. Because of course this is very written in theme. I do like the theme to this codex. It's very, very definitely Space Wolfy. Number 1 is Saga of the Warrior Born. You always choose your Warlord to fight first in the fight phase, even if he didn't charge. If the enemy has units with that have charged or have a similar ability, then alternating choosing units to fight with, starting with the player whose turn it is. Saga of the Beast Slayer. You can add 1 to wound rolls for your Warlord's attacks if it targets a monster or vehicle. Saga of the Hunter. You can add 2 to saving throws made for your Warlord when he receives the benefit of cover instead of 1. In addition, your Warlord can advance and charge in the same turn. Saga of the Bear. Increase your Warlord's wound characteristic by 1. Saga of the Majesty. Friendly Space Wolves units within 12 inches of your Warlord do not have to take morale tests, as I said. There's ways to have some fun. Saga of the Wolfkin. Your Warlord and models in any units of Wolfin, Space Wolf Beasts, and Space Wolves Cavalry units within 6 inches of them, when they are chosen to fight in the fight phase, can make 1 additional attack on the turn which they made a successful charge. In addition, you do not need to take morale tests for these units when they are within 6 inches of your Warlord. Hello. And obviously, Canis Bullhorn and Herald Deathwolf both have Saga of the Wolfkin. So that's going to be hilarious. So once again, +1 attack, hitting on 2s, reroll 1s in a lot of cases. It's going to be a bloodbath, and it's going to be hilarious. Yeah. It's just awesome. So that's that, as I said in a nutshell. The other new thing is, because once again, they got the new codex, they got some new psychic powers. Now, this codex is a very close combat themed army, but it's also, for those who don't know, Space Wolves are a psyker / anti-psyker army, right? They're very good at blocking your opponent's psychic powers, and they're very good at casting psychic powers. So as with the data sheets, many of the psychers have, +1 to deny the witch rolls, and +1 to cast powers. But they also got 3 new psychic powers, and they're all called Tempest Discipline. So I'll go over all the psychic powers because that way everyone can hear all of them. The first one is Living Lightning. Now this is a classic named psychic power from many previous codices, but it wasn't in the data sheets. So Living Lightning is basically their cool equivalent of Smite, but it's a little bit better. So Living Lightning has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, the closest visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker suffers D3 mortal wounds. If that unit is destroyed as a result, the closest enemy unit within 18 inches of the last model from that unit to be removed also suffers D3 mortal wounds. And so on until a unit is not destroyed or there is no enemy unit within 18 inches of the last model in the destroyed unit. So it's like a chain lightning, hence the Living Lightning, killing of D3 mortal wounds. And obviously it's very circumstantial, but if you have a lot of squads within each other that have maybe 1 or 2 guys left in them with 1 wound each, this power can be pretty nasty. Wipe out multiple squads at the same time. Pretty cool. Or if you have a bunch of, like, again, low wound counted single characters. Number 2 is Tempest Wrath. It has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select a visible enemy unit within 24 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of the next psychic phase, your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls they make for that unit. Murderous Hurricane. Once again, the classically named psychic power. Murderous Hurricane has a warp charge value of 5. If manifested, select a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Roll 1 dice for each model in that unit. On a 6, it suffers a mortal wound. Fury of the Wolf Spirits has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, the Rune Priest gains the following weapon until the start of your next psychic phase. It's called Frecky and Gary, or Jerry. Range melee, type melee, strength 5, AP -3, D1. After the Rune Priest makes his close combat attacks, you can attack with Frecky and Jerry. Make 6 additional attacks using this weapon. 6 additional attacks, hitting on 2s. Most of the time. Strength 5, AP -3, D1. Nice. Stormcaller has a warp charge value of 8. If manifested until the start of your next psychic phase, the Psyker and any friendly Space Marine units within 6 inches of him gain the benefits of being in cover, which once again you could stack with the Warlord trait of +2 to cover, right? Number 6, Jaws the World Wolf. This is once again the final one of the classically named psychic powers. It has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker, other than a vehicle. Roll 2d6 and subtract the target's move characteristic. The target unit suffers a number of wounds equal to the result, which is cool. Jaws used to be like the bane of Tyranid players. You're back in the day, because it used to be the person would roll a dice and compare it to their initiative. If it was higher, the model would be removed, and literally Carnifexes would just disappear from the table left, right, and center. So while next is happening, I'm going to quickly just count this because I'm very curious. How many HQ choices do you have in this new codex? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20... 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 HQ choices. I'm not going through all those. So as you can see, tons and tons and tons of choice. But we're going to go through the important ones today, because many of them are just this person in this armor, this person in this armor, this person on a wolf. But here we go. So let's go over some important information. Now, most of their data sheet themselves have been unchanged. It's mostly just points costs that have been updated, but we will go through everything today. So we'll start with Logan Grimnar, right? The classic Space Wolf character. Logan Grimnar to me is amazing, but Logan Grimnar on Storm Rider is going to be like the auto-include HQ, I think, in the army. The reason is both of them got significant points drops. So Logan Grimnar is got 20 points cheaper. Logan Grimnar is now 170 points. It used to be 190. And so if you used to run Logan Grimnar 190, now Logan Grimnar in Storm Rider is 190. So for an extra 20 points, you get Storm Rider, making him significantly faster. He gets his flurry of teeth and claws with that. Basically, Logan Grimnar, he is just by himself. He is movement 5 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 2 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 7 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 2 up save. He has the Axe Mordecai, which you can do one-handed or two-handed. One-handed is strength +2, AP -3, DD3. Or two-handed, which is strength times 2, AP -3, D3, but it's equivalent of claw or fist, that's -1 to hit. Once again, it doesn't matter because on the turn he charges, it's +1 to hit anyway. Negates. You can reroll failed hit rolls for friendly Space Wolf units within 6 inches of Logan Grimnar. So once again, hitting on 2s, reroll. Hi, King of Fenris. You do not need to take morale tests for Wolfguard units within 6 inches of Logan Grimnar. Belt of Russ for a pinball save, and he can deep strike. However, if you give him the Storm Rider / Santa's Slay, he becomes faster. He has 12 wounds as opposed to 7. He can move up to 10 inches at full strength, and he also gets additional attacks by his wolves, depending on the number of wounds he has, up to 6 additional attacks, hitting on 2s. Strength 5, AP -1, D1. It's nuts. And for 190 points, which is the initial cost, like if you had Logan Grimnar before, that's the cost of Storm Rider. I think he is very undercosted now, and he's going to be insane on the battlefield, just ripping everyone to shreds. Yeah. He can't deep strike, though. Who cares? He can just run around the battlefield. Arjak Rockfist. Arjak, 5 points more expensive than he was before. Arjak is now 145, used to be 140. Basically the same model as before. He has, movement 5 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 5, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, 2 up save. He has the Foe Hammer, so it is shooting attack, 12 inch assault 1, strength times 2, AP -3, D3, and melee, which is strength times 2, AP -3, D3, and when attacking characters or monsters, this weapon does a damage of 3. He has a 3-up invulnerable save. You can reroll failed hit rolls for Arjak Rockfist in the fight phase when targeting a character. In addition, you can make 1 additional attack in the fight phase for all models in friendly Wolfguard units within 6 inches of Arjak Rockfist. Cool. He can deep strike, and you can reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Space Wolves units that are within 6 inches of this model. So once again, you stack this with the +1, the +1 hit, and the extra attacks that you can stack. Like, this is just so many potentials for hilarity in close combat. Up next we have Bjorn. Bjorn didn't change in points cost, and really didn't change in any rules. He's still moving 8 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 2 up, strength 7, toughness 8, 8 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 3-up save. He has True Claw, an assault cannon, heavy flamer. The True Claw is strength +5, so strength 12, AP -4, D6. You can reroll failed wound rolls with this weapon, which he's usually winning on 2-ups anyway. You get an additional command point if you take him. He has smoke launchers, roll D6. He's basically old Feel of Pain. On a 5-up, he negates a wound that he's gonna lose. You can reroll You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Space Wolves units that are within 6 inches of him once again. And he can explode. Cool. Njal, Najal, Njal. I never have known how to pronounce it, so I'm going to like Njal. Stormcaller. Njal weapon points, I think. Or maybe he didn't. I think, he'd say the same. It was the... No, Njal didn't. And the Terminator version of Njal went down in cost, yeah. So Njal is still the master psyker / anti-psyker. Njal is, let's see here. By the way, Bjorn, for those who are wondering, Bjorn is 180 points, plus warrior. So Njal is 138 points. Njal with Terminator armor is 153. So an extra 15 points, Terminator armor. Up to you if you want to take it. It does give him an extra wound, but slows down his movement characteristic from 6 to 5. Otherwise, he's 2-up weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength 4, toughness 4. As I said, he has 5 wounds with the normal one, 6 wounds with Terminator, 3 attacks each. Leadership 9, 2-up save. You can add 1 to any psychic tests that you make with Njal. You can add 1 to deny the witch rolls that you make with Njal against any psychers within 12 inches. He has an invulnerable save, 4-up invul with Terminator armor, a 5-up invul otherwise. Any staff with Stormcaller, you can reroll 1 failed deny the witch roll in each of your opponent's psychic phases, which is pretty nasty. If you give him Terminator armor, he can deep strike. Otherwise, he can manifest 2 powers and deny 2 powers, which is pretty cool. So Njal, classic psyker. He'll definitely help you in games if you know you're playing against a psychic army. Up next, we have the Rune Priest. Now, the Rune Priest is just the generic psyker. And of course, as I said, we have several types. We have Rune Priest and Terminator armor. Primaris Rune Priest. So I'm guessing there's going to be a new model in the near future. And the Rune Priest. They're, depending on the armor, it's usually 6-up movement. Otherwise, if it's a Terminator armor, it's -1, but the Terminator gets an additional wound over the normal Rune Priest. Normal Rune Priest is 4, Terminator has 5, Primaris has 5. Really, the sweet spot is the Primaris one because, well, other than armor save. So it's completely up to you if you want the trade-off. The Terminator has the best armor save. The Primaris, gets the additional movement and additional wound. They all have a Psychic Hood, so they can add 1 to the deny tests for against enemy psychers within 12 inches. That's basically it. As I said, so Rune Priest I think Rune Priest went up in cost. They did. Rune Priest were one of the few. They went up in cost by 20 points. So now a generic Rune Priest is 88 points. A Rune Priest in Terminator armor is 120, and a Rune Priest with a jetpack is 112, and a Primaris Rune Priest is 93. Cool. We're going through these HQs. This is good. And then the basic Rune Priest. Ulrika the Slayer. Ulrika the Slayer didn't change. Oh, sorry, he went down in points by a bit, actually. He's 23 points cheaper now. He is now 110, used to be 133. Movement 6 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 2 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, 3 up save. He has a Corrosive Arcanum, so that gives him strength +1, AP -1, D2. He has Plasma Pistol, Frag Grenades, Crack Grenades. He's a character, so only one can be included in your army. So he's an individual, obviously. His Slayer's Oath. You can reroll failed hit rolls in the fight phase for friendly Space Wolves units within 6 inches of this model. If Ulrika the Slayer kills an enemy character or monster, then for the rest of the battle, you can add 1 to any wound rolls you make in the fight phase for any Space Wolves units within 6 inches of them. Holy moly. Once again, crazy stacking awesomeness. 4-up invulnerable save. At the end of the movement phase, Ulrika the Slayer can attempt to heal a single model. To do so, select the Space Wolves infantry, biker, or cavalry unit within 3 inches of them. If that unit contains a wounded model, it immediately regains up to D3 lost wounds. A unit can only be the target of healing bombs once each turn. And then he has Wolf Helm of Russ. All friendly Space Wolves units within 9 inches also can use his leadership instead of their own, which is 9. So he is an awesome guy. For 110 points, he is also going to be a really competitive inclusion to your army. And next we have the Wolf Priests. Now the big difference between like a Wolf Priest and a Rune Priest, for those who are wondering, Wolf Priests are the equivalent of apothecaries. They're the healers. So the non-character version of Ulrika the Slayer, when Rune Priests are the non-character version of Njal Stormcaller. So of course there's Wolf Priest in Terminator armor, Wolf Priest in Primaris armor, Wolf Priest in neither armor. Again, the main benefit of Terminator armor, better armor save, extra wound, 1 less movement. Primaris Wolf Priest gets the +1 to his movement, so it's 6 inches as opposed to 5 of the Terminator. He gets 5 wounds as opposed to 4 of the base Wolf Priest. And then the Wolf Priest, 6-inch movement and 4 wounds, basically. That's it. And they're healers. They have a 4-up invulnerable save. The normal Wolf Priest has a 4-up invulnerable save. The Primaris Wolf Priest does not have an invulnerable save. And the Wolf Priest in Terminator armor also has a 4-up invulnerable save. They're the healers. They can heal D3 lost wounds in the same fashion that Ulrika the Slayer did. And up next we have Ragnar Blackmane. Ragnar Blackmane did not get adjusted in points, and he's basically the identical model he was before. I kept comparing the data sheets and I didn't see any differences. He's still movement 6 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 2 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 3 up save. But he now has access to these. I don't know if he did before. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. But he now may include 2 loyal from Norwegian Wolves, which are Svangir and Ulfgeir. And they are 8 points each. So 16 points. But the cool thing about them is that they have movement 12 inches, weapon skill 3 up, ballistic skill 7 up, so they're not shooting anything. Strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound each, 3 attacks, leadership 4, 6 up save. But they're pretty cool, And again, he has a 4-up invulnerable save. He has the Frost Fang, which is a close combat weapon, strength +1, AP -4, D2. And on the 5 attacks, you know, that'd be really crazy. Once again, if he charges in, he's hitting on a 2-up anyway. War Howl, you can reroll failed charge rolls for friendly Space Wolf units other than vehicles within 6 inches of Ragnar Blackbane. Huge. Jarl of Fenris, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Space Wolf units within 6 inches of Ragnar Blackbane. Once again, awesome. Because this would be 2s hitting on 1s the first round anyway. If Ragnar Blackbane performs Heroic Intervention, increases attacks characters by D3 until the end of the turn. And Loyal Companions. The death of Svengeir Altgeir is ignored for the purposes of morale. Svengeir and Altgeir are considered to have character keywords for the purpose of shooting attacks. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the other part of, I should go back there, the other part of the special rule for the army is that Heroic Interventions, in any turn, in the fight, in addition, characters with this ability can perform a Heroic Intervention if after the enemy has completed all their charge moves, there are any enemy units within 6 inches of them, they can move up to 6 inches while performing a Heroic Intervention, so as long as they end the move closer to the enemy unit. So it makes characters even better for performing Heroic Interventions on top of the +1 to hit. And next we have Crom Dragon Gaze from the old box set against Orcs. Crom got significantly cheaper, 29 points cheaper, so he is now, I believe, 90 points. Yes, he's 90 points. He's not really that special, but he's cool. He has his Worm Claw, which is strength +2, AP -2, DD3. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Space Wolf units because he's a captain, right? He can reroll hit rolls of 1 on first round of close combat. That's insane because it's +1 reroll 1s. The Fierce Eye, enemy units within 3 inches of Crom must reduce their leadership by 1, and he's a 4-up invulnerable save. Up next, we have the Herald Deathwolf, one of the Thunderwolf cavalry character guys. He got, I think his points cost stayed the same. Yeah, it did. He was unaffected by the new Codex pretty much, 188 points. He has that cool, the Warlord trait that I discussed earlier. But he can move 10 inches, weapon skill 2-up, ballistic skill 2-up, strength 4, toughness 5, 7 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, and 3-up save. And as I said, so Herald, and his points cost, for those you're wondering, 188 points. He's expert hunter. During deployment, you can set him up in ready to outflank. So at the end of any of your movement phases, you can join the battle, set him up so that he's within 12 inches of any battlefield edge and more than 9 inches away from any enemy model. He has a 3-up invulnerable save. It's +1 to his armor save from shooting attacks, not invulnerable saves. And all friendly Thunderwolf units and friendly units of friendly region wolves and cyber wolves can use his leadership instead of his own. And you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for any friendly Space Wolf units within 6 inches of him, because he's kind of a captain. Wolf Lord, this is the generic captain. Wolf Lords got a little bit cheaper. They are 74 points base plus all the war gear and stuff. Movement 6 inches, weapon skill 2-up, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, 3-up save. And once again, reroll hit rolls of 1 for Space Wolf units within 6 inches, 4-up invulnerable save. You can give him a Storm Shield. Of course, you can also give him a Jump Pack. You can give him a Thunder Wolf. You can give him a Terminator armor. You can give him Cataphracti armor. You can make him Primaris, and you can give him Gravis armor. I'm just going to skim through those because, as I mentioned, it's consistent. The same rules apply to each one. The same bonuses. Gravis armor is like Terminator armor. Gravis armor is slower movement, extra wounds, etc. But basically, tons of choices. So if you really want a generic Wolf Lord, you can take him in a variety of forms, including, just a no-named Thunder Lord, Wolf Lord, Terminator armor, Cataphracti armor, Primaris armor, Gravis armor, every armor. But now, one of my favorite models in general for the Space Wolf Codex, Canis Bullhorn. Now, Canis Bullhorn got dropped by, again, 25 points. Huge point drops for this army. Tons of time left to film. He's now 125 points for Canis Bullhorn. That is insane. It blows my brain that Canis Bullhorn is 125 points. Still, movement 10 inches, weapon skill 2-up, ballistic skill 5-up, strength 4, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, 3-up save. He has the Wolf Claw, which is strength +1, AP -2, D1, and you can reroll failed wound rolls with his weapon. A model armed with 2 wolf claws can make one additional attack, which he can. He also has, he's on Fang Gear, which can make 3 additional attacks using his profile, Strength 5, AP -1, D1, after Canis Bullhorn is gone. But he's, again, Born of Wolves. You can make 1 additional teeth and claws or crushing teeth and claws attack in the fight phase for all friendly models in Thunderwolf and Region Wolves. Thunderwolf and Region Wolves or Cyber Wolves units that are within 6 inches of Canis Bullhorn at the start of the phase. So again, if you're going to run Thunderwolf Cavalry, bring him. You're going to have the time of your life. Alpha Predator, you can reroll failed charge rolls for Canis Bullhorn. And Champions of Death Wolves, you can reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Space Wolves units that are within 6 inches of Canis Bullhorn. So once again, just another thing to stack on the +1 reroll ones in close combat. Up next, we have Wolfguard Battle Leaders. The Battle Leaders are the equivalent of a normal Primaris Marine Lieutenant. So their benefit to the squad is that you can reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Space Wolf units within 6 inches of this model. So the Battle Leader is, let me see here, the standard Battle Leader, Wolfguard Battle Leader, is 60 points. In Terminator Armor, 91 points. On a Thunderwolf is 104. On Jump Back is 78. Primaris is 87. And once again, it's the same benefits as before. Yes, I'm not going to jump through those because there's way too many people to go through in this codex. And then finally, we have the Iron Priest. This is the last HQ. So this last 15 minutes of it's taking me 15 minutes to just go through the codex for the HQ section. The Iron Priest is the equivalent of a Tech Marine. He can fix vehicles. So at the end of your movement phase, this model can repair a single Wolf's vehicle within 1 inch. It gains D3 lost wounds. Now, an Iron Priest is, the base cost is 45 points plus War Gear. And he has, Tempest Hammer, Hellfrost Pistol, Servo Arm, Frag Grenades, Crack Grenades, movement 6 inches, Weapon Skill 2 up, Ballistic Skill 3 up, Strength 4, Toughness 4, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, Leadership 8, 2 up save, and they shall no fear, as I said. His Hellfrost Pistol is Strength 8, AP -4, DD3, and if a model suffers any unsaved wounds from this weapon, but is not slain, roll a D6. On a 6, the target model suffers a mortal wound. Servo Arm, Strength ×2, AP -2, D3. It can only be used to make 1 attack each time the model fights, and it's a subtract 1 to hit because it's kind of like a power fist. And a Tempest Hammer, Strength ×2, AP -3, D3. When attacking with this weapon, you must subtract 1 from the hit roll. In addition, if a model suffers any unsaved wounds from this model, but is not slain, roll a D6. On a 6, the target model suffers a mortal wound. Cool. And that's the HQ section in a nutshell. Tons of choices. Great choices. I love, first of all, I love Logan on his Santa's sleigh. I love Canis Bullhorn. I love Mijal. There are so many choices. Plus, if you want to take just a standard Lord, a standard Lieutenant equivalent, a standard anything, you have tons of choices. A standard Wolf Priest, a standard Rune Priest. You can take them in a variety of ways, and it covers all the ways. So you can't get any better than that, really. Up next, we have the troops. Now, the troops, as I mentioned, there's now 3 choices. There used to be 2. Bloodclaws, Grey Hunters, and Intercessors. Now, Intercessors are basically identical to a standard Space Marine Intercessor. So they are 18 points per model. The main benefit of them is they have the extra wound. And they tend to be less than double the cost. Bloodclaws. The main advantage is taking a Bloodclaw over a Grey Hunter. I should mention the Grey Hunters got dropped in points by 1 point. So now Grey Hunters and Bloodclaws are the same points. They're just plus War Gear. They're both 13 points each. Bloodclaws are movement 6 inches, Weapon Skill 3 up, Weapon Skill 4 up. So they're not as good shooters. But Grey Hunters are Weapon Skill 3 up and Weapon Skill 3 up. Strength 4, Toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, Leadership 7. But because they come standard with, I believe it's a pistol, they're close combat oriented, are each armed with a chainsword, bolt pistol, frag grenades, and crack grenades, so they can make an additional attack. And once again, the Blood Claws, because they're more close combat oriented, might be the way to go. Completely up to you. I do think that the Grey Hunters are a little more versatile because you can give them usually more longer range weapons. But once again, the theme of this army is close combat orientedness. An extra, +1. Some of them get +1 attacks, +1 to hits, reroll wounds. Like, it may be the way to go. Up to you guys. But they're pretty much the same guys as they were before. You can give them a bunch of variety of war gear. And same with the Grey Hunters. They're their staple. They're the staple Space Marine of the Space Wolves. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with them. They're movement 6 inches, 3 up, ballistic skill and weapon skill, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7, 3 up save. And they tend to be more armed with like bolters as opposed to bolt pistols and chain swords. And then Intercessors are the same Primaris Marines as always. So again, for the troops choice, it's a Space Marine army, right? The troops choice is pretty much the most boring part of a Space Marine army. Especially the things with Space Wolves is that they have one less choice technically. They have the close combat oriented Space Marines, less close combat oriented Space Marines, and Primaris Marines. As I said, the scouts are elite choices for this particular codex. So if you're more of a scout person, you can't take them as troops, you'll have to take them as elites. That being said, so let's go to the elite section. Now, once again, the elite section has a lot, and I mean a lot of choices, including some of the new models in this army. There are just pages on pages on pages of elite choices. So let's go through these. First of all, scouts. Wolf Scouts, they are still the same points cost they were before. They are, I believe, 18 points each. Sorry, looking through this stuff. 11 points each, sorry, 11 points each. Intercessors are 18 points each. So Wolf Scouts, they're the same scouts as always. Movement 6 inches, ballistic skill, weapon skill 3, up, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7, 4 up save. They're elites. They can do camo cloaks, and you can deploy them behind enemy lines. Up next, we have Reavers and Aggressors. Now, once again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on these guys because they are traditional Primaris Marine elite choices, right? And they're identical in points, identical in rules. They are just the Space Wolf version of these guys. They only have the Space Wolf names, they're just Reavers and Aggressors. And Servitors. I really want to focus on the elite choices that are really more specific to this army. I know it's really nice that they can take Reavers and Aggressors, so if you want to take them before, you can now take them with Space Wolves, which is fantastic, but there's nothing really special about them other than they have the Space Wolf specific rules. Up next, we have the elite choice, Lucas the Trickster. Lucas the Trickster. He is the same points cost as before. There was no change to him, I believe. Yeah. Lucas the Trickster is 110 points. But he is movement 6 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, 3 up save. He has the Claw of Jackal Wolf, a plasma pistol, frag grenades, crack grenades. Only one model can be included in the army. The Claw of Jackal Wolf is strength +1, AP -2, D2. Can reroll failed wound rolls with his weapon. So when the turn he charges in, again, hitting on 2s, reroll wounds. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Blood Claw units within 6 inches of him. So once again, if you're going to run Blood Claws, this is another amazing elite choice to take because he just keeps stacking on all the special rules that we've gone through, and you allow a really powerful close combat army. Master of Mischief, subtract 1 from the leadership of all units within 3 inches of Lucas the Trickster at the start of your morale phase for the duration of the phase. In addition, Lucas the Trickster cannot be your Warlord. Last laugh, if Lucas the Trickster is slain in the fight phase, both players roll a dice. Rerolling ties. If you roll lowest, nothing happens. If you roll highest, the unit that landed the blow immediately suffers d6 mortal wounds. Hello! Pelt of the Doppelgangrel. Your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls for attacks that target Lucas the Trickster in the fight phase. And up next, we have the brand new model for this codex, the Wolfin Dreadknot. Now, I haven't seen it yet. The Wolfin Dreadknot is movement 8 inches, weapon skill 3 up, ballistic skill 5 up, strength 6, toughness 7, 8 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 7, 3 up save. Now its base cost is 70 points plus war gear. So again, the war gear will come into play. but he comes base with a Fenrisian Great Axe, Great Wolf Claw, and Stormbolter. Fenrisian Great Axe has 2 choices, Cleave or Scythe. Strength +4, so Cleave first, Strength +4, AP -3, DD6 when attacking these weapons, subtract 1 from the hit rolls. Or Scythe, which is the, killing tons of little dudes. Strength user, so 6, AP -3, D1, make 2 attack rolls for each, 2 hit rolls for each attack instead of 1. The Great Wolf Claw, though, is Strength +4, AP -2, D3. You can re-roll failed wound rolls with this weapon. So you have 3 different choices for attacks, which is pretty nasty. So depending on what you're going for, you can really customize your attacks towards it. If you're going for a horde of orc boys, go with the Scythe Fenrisian Great Axe. If you're going for against Land Raider, you may want to go for the Cleave or the Great Wolf Claw, depending on the number of wounds left. Because Strength 10 is pretty awesome. He has a few abilities. Murder Lust. You can reroll any failed charge rolls for this model. Blizzard Shield. 4-up invulnerable save, and he explodes. The Great Company Ancient. He's a dude holding a banner. Same rules as the other banners. Primaris Ancient. I'm going to do that every time. Ancient. I always want to do that. Primaris Ancient, the Primaris version. Holding a banner. And of course the banner is Space Wolf units within 6 inches of any friendly Ancient. Add 1 to their leadership. In addition, roll a dice each time a model is destroyed within 6 inches. Before moving the model as a casualty on a 4-up, that model can either shoot with one of its weapons if in the shooting phase, or make a single attack in the fight if it's in the fight phase. The Great Company Champion. So now they have their own champion. He's moving 6 inches, weapon skill 2-up, blitz skill 3-up, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 attacks, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 3-up save. The Great Company Champion is 40 points plus war gear. He must make a heroic intervention, has a 5 invulnerable save, he has a combat shield, mastercrafted power sword, if you want to give him a combat shield. No, he has a combat shield, so 5 invulnerable save. Wolfguard. So Wolfguard. Wolfguard are an elite choice of Space Wolves, and they're basically for, let's find out how many points each. I don't think they were changed. Wolfguard, yeah, they went down 1 point each. Wolfguard are now 15 points each. They used to be 16. So Wolfguard are, again, movement 6 inches straight, weapon skill, blitz skill 3-up, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 2 attacks each. Other than their pack leader has an extra attack, and also has, they're all leadership 8. They are armed with a bolt gun, bolt pistol, frag grenades, crack grenades, but of course you can give them a bunch of different weapons. They can take a storm shield, and you can give them jump axe if you wish. But again, they stack really well with some of the rules of some of the other HQs, which I mentioned buff specifically Wolfguard. You can also take Wolfguard Terminators. Wolfguard Terminators got cheaper by a bit. They're now 5 points cheaper each. They're 26 points each. They used to be 31. Once again, they're the elite. They're Terminators, and that's it. They get, they're like Wolfguard, but have an extra. They're 2 wounds each, and they're 5-inch movement. They have 5 invulnerable save, and they can deep strike. There's the standard Dreadnought, which is just a Dreadnought. The Wolfguard Cataphractii Terminators, which are the same as the other Cataphractii Terminators. Wolfguard Tartaris Terminators. A Venerable Dreadnought, which again, similar to a Space Marine. Venerable. I don't mean to constantly skip over these things, but due to the amount of models, because we're only in the elite section, I'm already 45 minutes into this video. I'm just going to go through the really, the specific ones, this codex that actually have difference to them versus, like, you can take a standard Dreadnought and they have the cool special rules of Space Wolves, but you know what I mean. There's a Contemptor Dreadnought or Redemptor Dreadnought, once again, because they have Primaris, the new Space Marines, they now have an access to a Redemptor Dreadnought. But now it is my favorite 2 elite choices, other than maybe the new Wolfin Dreadnought. My 2 favorite elite choices, which I think are going to be the ingredient in every competitive list, at least one of them, the Wolfin, number 1, and the Murder Fang. I love the Wolfin. They have so much awesomeness now. They do say in some of the other things you can't stack with your special rules, but Wolfin are awesome. They are 7-inch movement, weapon skill, 3-up, blitz skill, 5-up. Oh, and by the way, Wolfin got 9 points cheaper per model base cost. Hello, insanity. Like, again, Wolfin are now 28 points each. So they got cheaper. They come armed with Wolfin Claws, and the Wolfin Pack Leader can take Frost Claws. They're movement 7 inches, weapon skill 3 up, ballistic skill 5 up, strength 5, toughness 4, 2 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 7. The leader has an extra attack. And Wolfin Claws are strength user AP -1 D1, but once again, they're fast, and all these stacking rules that we've discussed so far make them insane. Plus their special rules. The Frost Claws are strength +1, AP -2 D1, but you can make 1 additional attack with the weapon. You can reroll failed wound rolls with the weapon. So first of all, they have Bounding Leap, which they can advance and charge in the same turn, like Cheat and Stealers. They have Death Frenzy. Roll a d6 each time a model loses a wound. They have the old Feel No Pain. 5 up, it's negated. If a model is slain in this unit in the fight phase, then once the enemy is finished making its attacks, you can make an attack with that model before moving, as if it was alive. Even if it had already attacked that phase. Insanity. Storm Shield. You can give them Storm Shield 3 up and vulnerable save, but they have 2 really cool rules. Curse of the Wolf and Hunt. You can reroll failed charge rolls for friendly Space Wolves infantry, biker, and cavalry units within 6 inches of this unit at the start of the charge phase. The range of this ability is doubled for friendly Blood Claw units. Once again, all the stacking, all the insanity. Number 2, Curse of the Wolf and Kill. You can make 1 additional attack for models in friendly Space Wolves, infantry, biker, and cavalry units that are within 6 inches of any unit with this ability when they make their attacks in the fight phase. The range is doubled for Blood Claw units. Wolfen are not allowed by this ability, or not affected by this ability, nor are units that made a charge this turn while within range of the Curse of the Wolf and Hunt ability. Okay, so you can use one of the other. But still, all the rule stacking, insanity. That's all I'm going to say. This is a great close combat army. Thanks to Murder Fang. The Murder Fang is just awesome. I just love the Murder Fang. The Murder Fang same points cost. Yes, the Murder Fang is 170 points total. Movement 8 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 6, toughness 7, 8 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 8, 3 up save. He has Murder Claws, Stormbolter, Heavy Flamer. And Murder Claws are strength times 2, AP -3, D3. You can reroll failed wound rolls with his weapon, and it's at strength 12, so that's insane. You can reroll failed charge rolls for the Murder Fang. In addition, in a turn in which Murder Fang makes a successful charge, increases attack characters by 2 until the end of the phase. So he gets 7 attacks on the charge. He cannot be a Warlord, and he explodes. So that concludes the elite choices. As I mentioned, tons of elite choices, tons of different options. I really do like the new Wolfin Dreadknot. I like the Wolfin in general. They're going to be nuts. And the Murder Fang. As I said, just going to be a great, close combat-oriented army with tons of hilarity. For the fast attack choices, they're cool. I don't see the... to me, the main specialness of the... fast attacks, if you're going to take fast attacks, are there in the Thunderwolf Cavalry, the Fenrisian Wolves, the Wolf Scout Bikers, or the Cyber Wolves. Those are really the strength for me, but let's go over all of them. There's the Sky Claws, which are basically Space Wolves on jetpacks, right? They're the jetpack Space Wolves. There's Swift Claws. So for fast attacks, Swift Claws went down 8 points each. So Swift Claws are the Bikers. Sky Claws are the jetpacks. Swift Claws are now 23 points each. You can take one in assault bike, attack bike. You can also take an attack bike on its own. They have land speeders, inceptors. Inceptors are identical in this codex as they are for the normal Primaris Marines. But here's where it actually gets really good. The Thunderwolf Cavalry, the Fenrisian Wolves, Wolf Scout Bikers, and Cyber Wolves. First of all, Thunderwolf Cavalry got dropped by 5 points base each. Once again, if you liked them before, you're gonna love them. It's a good, wow. The amount of models I think a Space Wolf player will be able to fit into an army is getting surprisingly large. Thunderwolf Cavalry are amazing. They are 10-inch movement, weapon skill 3 up, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 8, 3 up save. Their leader gets an additional attack. But again, you can stack them with a variety of close combat-oriented weapons, combine those with the benefits we've all gone through a bunch of times over with the HQs, and you've got an insanely hard, fast, just hard-hitting, insanely fast squad that has to be dealt with. This is going to be hilarious. Fenrisian Wolves. Fenrisian got a little bit cheaper as well. They're moving 10 inches, weapon skill 3 up. Strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound each, 2 attacks, leadership 4, 6 up save. They have teeth and claws. And pack mentality, add 1 to the unit's leadership if it contains 6 or more models, or add 2 if it contains 10 or more models. You can reroll failed charge rolls. Wolf Scout Bikers. Again, if you want to take Scout Bikers, they're pretty cool. They're scouts on bikes. But Cyber Wolves, once again, are you can take 1 Cyber Wolf on its own. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, there's no more Lone Wolves. If you've caught that when I went over the elite choices, no more Lone Wolves, I'm pretty sure. I've gone through that section many times, and in previous codices, there used to be called a Lone Wolf, and they used to have like special rules. If you killed them, you lost points, basically. But if they were, if like your opponent killed them, the opponent lost points. But no more Lone Wolves. They took away very similar rules from the Death Watch Codex, so I'm kind of assuming they don't want like more squads of 1 kind of thing. As in Cyber Wolves. That's it for the fast attacks, as I mentioned. They're really cool. Cyber Wolves it's a pack of 1. Movement 10 inches, weapon skill 3 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds each, so they're a little bit more hardy than a normal wolf. 3 attacks, leadership 6, 4 up save. You can include up to 4 additional Cyber Wolves. They can reroll charge distances. So again, if you want a wolf-themed army. So the next we have the heavy support choices. And once again, I'm going to say this, it's almost entirely just standard Space Marine heavy support choices, right? There's the Long Fangs, which are the the heavy weapon specialists of the Space Wolf army. They're the Devastators. Their cool special rule though is you can at the start of each shooting phase pick 1 enemy unit on the battlefield. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for any models from this unit that target the enemy unit you picked. So again, you can just choose a unit and reroll hit rolls of 1. You can now do a mixed pack. You can add a Wolf Guard leader to it or a Terminator leader in there. And if you have a pack leader, Wolf Guard Terminator pack leader has a 5-up invulnerable save. But again, you can give them the rockets. I think if you're going to take Long Fangs, you want to give them, in my opinion, probably rocket launchers. Rockets are awesome. Las cannons are really good too, but I take rockets because they're usually cheaper. That to me is that's good. And also Long Fangs got dropped by 1 point each to make them more in line with Devastators from the other armies. So Long Fangs are now 14 points a model. They used to be 15. Then of course we have Hellblasters, which are the Primaris versions with the plasma guns, and you can give them a variety of types of plasma guns. We have a Hunter and a Stalker, which are just normal tanks from the Space Marine Codex, the Whirlwind and the Predator, the Vindicator, the Land Raider Crusader, the Land Raider Redeemer, and with the dedicated transports, the Rhino, the Razorback, the Drop Pod, the Landspeeder Storm, and the Repulsor. As I said, so all this part of the Codex is, I'm just going to skim over it. I don't mean to jump it, I do mean to jump intentionally. The reason is it's all the same Space Marine stuff. There's pretty much nothing special about the Space Wolves version because their Space Wolf rules don't even apply to most of those vehicles and squads. Yeah, there you go. So the specialness of the army really doesn't lie in the heavy support choices other than Long Fangs. Long Fangs used to be the auto-include of most armies, because they were just awesome, cheap units. You sit at the back and just kill your opponent from a distance, and they're still just as good. And then if you want to take anything that's normally Space Marine, you now have access to it in this codex, which makes it even that much more powerful. And then next we have the dedicated, not the dedicated transports, the flyers, which are the Stormfang Gunship and the Stormhawk Interceptor, and the Storm Wolf. So the Stormfang Gunship actually got more expensive. It went up by 20 points to make it more in line with similar flyers from other armies. So the Stormfang Gunship now is 175 points plus war gear. It is movement up to 50 inches depending on the number of wounds. It has up to 14 wounds. Weapon skill 6 up, and a best explosive skill has 3 up, strength 8, toughness 7, 14 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 3 up save. It's equipped with Hellfrost Destructor, which has 2 modes. One mode is 24 inches, heavy 3d3, strength 6, AP minus 2, d2. And when attacking this weapon, choose one of the profiles below. If a model suffers any unsaved wounds from this model is not slain, roll d6. On a 6, the target unit suffers a mortal wound. And then a Focus Beam, Heavy 3, Strength 8, AP -4, DD6. It also has 2 Heavy Bolters and 2 Storm Strike Missiles. Storm Strike Missiles are Heavy 1, Strength 8, AP -3, D3. It can hover. When it crashes and burns, it can crash and cause mortal wounds. It can be airborne, so it can only be charged by things with fly, hard to hit, so subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that in the shooting phase. And supersonic. It has some movement pivot. Power of the Machine Spirit, this model can move and fire heavy weapons without suffering the penalty of hit rolls. It can transfer 6 Wolves Infantry. Each Terminator jump pack or Wolfin model counts as 2 other models. It may not transport Primaris models, because Primarises, of course, have their specific repulsor. Stormhawk Interceptor is the Stormhawk from the Space Marine Codex. And then finally, the Storm Wolf. The Storm Wolf is the same points as before, 165 points. It is, once again, can move up to 50 inches, but it is armed with 2 las cannons, 2 twin heavy bolters, and twin Hellfrost cannon. And I said the same thing with Hellfrost cannon, but it doesn't have, it can transport 16 Space Wolf infantry models. Each Terminator, jump pack, or Wolfen model takes 2 spaces instead. Yeah. Takes the space of 2 other models, so I think it counts as 3. 2 other models. I guess 2. I don't know. You may not transport Primaris models. Cool. And that's it in a nutshell. As I said, they also have some, tons of command points that you can use. It has relics, where one of the relics is a 4-up invulnerable save. In addition, you can remove the ability for a squad to fight first. It has, let's see. Yeah, that's about it. Well, for me, there's, out of all the relics, I like one called the Wolfin Stone. You can make 1 additional attack for models in friendly Space Wolf infantry, biker, and cavalry units that are within 3 inches of the bearer when they make their attacks in the fight phase. Units with the Wolfen are not affected, nor are units that made a charge while within the range of the Curse of the Wolfen Hunt ability or earliest turn. In addition, a unit cannot be affected by both Curse of the Wolfen Kill and Wolfen Stone at the same fight phase. So there we go. That is basically it. I've gone through the psychic powers, I've gone through the warlord traits, I've gone through all the sections of the codex. Wow. It's been an hour, people. And I really hope you've enjoyed this codex review. But just to summarize what I think about this codex, I think it is really, really good. If you liked Space Wolves before, you're going to love them now. Almost all the points of cost adjustments got cheaper. It is a very close combat themed army. The special rules, all the stacking abilities are going to make for some insane close combat phases. I love the idea of the new Wolfin Dreadknot. I'm a little sad that they took away Lone Wolves, but that's okay. Wolfen are going to be an auto-include in most competitive armies. The named characters are insane. Bjorn, Njal, who else? Pretty much everyone is going to be awesome. Canis Bullhorn, even Arjak you could take. Like, any of these characters are going to be amazing. There's tons of choices, tons of different armor choices. You can take jump packs, you can take wolves, you can take bikes. Bikes have been removed. Sorry, that's the other thing. Bikes got kind of removed from this codex, but you can take wolves, you can take jetpacks, you can take different armor, like tons and tons of choices for this codex. And now that they've accessed all the Primaris Marine stuff, it just gives you even more flavor. And if you bought one in like the starter boxes, you can actually now paint them Space Wolf themed and include them in your army. So it's pretty awesome there. So overall, I think it's a really cool codex. But most importantly, what do you think? After going through all the things I went through today, what do you think? What do you think is the best model in the codex? What do you think is the worst model? What's been positively affected? What's been negatively affected? Let's create a discussion about the new Space Wolves Codex in the description below. But I really hope you enjoyed this codex review, and it is brought to you by all my Patreon subscribers. As you can see, their names go by my head. It's because of them that I can keep doing my videos and my content. And if you really like this video, please like the video, comment in the comment section down below, and subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. All these things really do help a lot. Stay tuned for more codex reviews. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, and enjoy the new Space Wolves Codex.